This is the Chapter 3 test review for 4th grade. Number 1, explain how to find 40 times 50 using mental math. So we would do our basic fact. 4 times 5 is 20, but since we have tens and tens, we're going to add 2 extra zeros. So that makes 2,000. Number 2, Mrs. Trainer's class is taking a field trip to the zoo. The trip will cost $26 for each student. So $26 for each student. There are 22 students in the class. So based on that, I am assuming that I would do 26 each means multiply times 22. Now, if I look at part A, it says round each factor to estimate the total cost of the student's field trip. So 26 rounds to 30, 22 rounds to 20. So then again, I have the basic fact, 2 times 3 is 6, and we have 2 place values behind that, so $600 is the estimated cost. Now it says use compatible numbers to estimate the total cost of the field trip. So compatible numbers is where we would take 26, and it's pretty close to 25. And 22 is pretty close to 20. So basic fact, 2 times 25 is 50. Add my extra 0 behind there. So about 500. So there's the 2 estimated. Now, which one do we think is a better estimate and why? Well, if we look at this, which one of these is closest to our original number? So we have 30 or we have 25. We can guess that 500 is closest because 25 is closer to 26. So since that number is closer to the real thing, we can assume that it's closer to the $500 answer. All right, moving on. On the next ones, you have to look at the problem and decide if this is the correct answer. And all of these are basic fact problems. So we have 35 times 1 is 35, and we have 1 0 behind it. So yes, that is true. 19 times 2 is 38 with 1 0 behind it. Yes, that is true. 12 times 1 is 12, but there should be 2 zeros behind it, so that one is incorrect. 7 times 1 is 7, and we should have 1, 2, 3 zeros behind it. 7,000 is correct. 28 times 3, now that's not a basic fact that I can solve very easily. So I'm going to come off to the side over here, and I'm going to do 28 times 3. 8 times 3 is 24. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 2 is 8. So that's 84 plus my 0 should be 840. So that one is not correct. All right, the next one. There are 23 boxes of pencils in Mr. Shaw's supply cabinet. Each box has 100 pencils. So how many pencils are in the supply cabinet? So we know we have 23 boxes. Each means multiply. Each box has 100. So basic fact, 23 times 1 is 23. Add my 2 zeros back in. We have 2,300 pencils. Next problem. Which one would be a reasonable estimate for each product? So what we are deciding is, would these numbers round to one of these? So 23, we know it's going to round to 20 times 40. Now that's not one of our options, so we look at, did it round to compatible numbers? And we know compatible numbers, we use things like 25 because we can think of quarters. So that would be 25 times 40. And so when we round to compatible numbers, this one does round to 25 times 40. 31 rounds to 30. 32 rounds to 30. And that is one of our options, 30 times 30. 46 rounds to 50, 18 rounds to 20. That is one of our options, so 50 times 20. 39 rounds to 40. 21 would round to 20. Now 20 is not an option, but we could round up to 25 if we're doing compatible numbers. So that one is another one that would be 25 times 40. And we can also narrow it down and say, well, neither one of these have anything multiplied by 40, so we can get those out of there anyway. All right, the next one, number 6. There are 26 baseball teams in the league. Each team has 18 players. Write a number sentence that will provide a reasonable estimate for the number of players in the league. So to find the real thing, I would do 26 teams, and each team has 18. But since I want to find the estimate, I'm going to round both of those numbers. So 30 times 20, and for a number sentence, we complete the whole thing. So 3 times 2 is 6. Add my 2 zeros back in. 30 times 20 is 600 players. And I'm just going to label that as players. Okay, number 7, they have the problem 48 times 37, and we're using partial products. So we are doing the box method. To find the blue box, we're going to do 30 times 40. So 3 times 4 is 12. And we have to watch our zeros here. We have 1 0, 2 zeros to put in our answer. So 1,200. 3 times 8 is 24, but this is in the tens, so we have 1 0 behind it. 7 times 4 is 28. Again, we have one number that's in the tens, so 1 0 behind it. And then 7 times 8 is 56, and they're both in the ones, so we can leave it the way it is. And on this one, we don't need to add them together. We're just finding the partial products. Next question, number 8. Jess made this model to find the product 32 times 17. Her model is wrong. So we need to figure out what she did wrong. We're going to check each box. So 3 times 1 is 3. And since there's tens and tens, we know this should be 300. So that one's wrong. 3 times 7 is 21 with 1 0 behind it. That one is also wrong. 2 times 10 is 20, and 2 times 7 is 14. So we can see where she got 40, she got 37, she got 12, and she got 9. She added instead of multiplying. So we're not just trying to find the mistakes, we're trying to figure out what she did wrong. So I can see that she added the numbers together instead of multiplying them. I forgot a word. So then we redraw the model so it is correct. And we've kind of done that up here, so I just have to copy it down. So we're doing 32 times 17, so 10 and 7. 3 times 1 is 3, add my zeros. 3 times 7 is 21, add my 1 0. 2 times 10 is 20. 2 times 7 is 14, and then we need to find the real answer. So all we're going to do is take these 4 partial products, and we're going to stack them by the place value and add them together. 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 4 is 4. 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 is 4. 3 plus 2 is 5. So my final answer is 544. All right, next one. Tatum wants to use partial products to find 15 times 32. Write the numbers in the boxes to show 15 times 32. So essentially, there's a couple ways we can do this. I think the easiest way to do this and make sure we get all the numbers is to draw the box. So if we draw the box, 15 is 10 and 5. 32 is 30 plus 2. Now, each one of these sets of parentheses is going to represent one box. So for example, this first box, I know I would multiply 30 times 10. So I'm going to put 30 times 10 in the first set of parentheses. And then in the second box for this one here, I know I'm multiplying 5 times 30, so 30 times 5. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in one of the sets of parentheses. To find this box, I know I'm multiplying 2 times 10. So I'm going to put that in my parentheses, 2 times 10. And then to get this last box, I'm multiplying 2 times 5. And so I'm just going to write that down. So if you draw the box, it's going to help you figure out what numbers you're multiplying together. All right, next problem number 10. On this one, you have to decide which area model or which box model matches the problem. So we can look at this. 10 plus 3 is 13. And since none of them have factors of 13 except for this one, I automatically know that is C. So that one is done. 30 plus 6 is 36. So I look at my factors. Here's my 36, so I know this is model for A. And then 10 plus 4 is 14. There's my 14, so I know that that one is B. Number 11, Mrs. Jones places 3 orders for school t-shirts. Each order has 16 boxes of shirts, and each box has 17 shirts. How many t-shirts does Mrs. Jones order? So we have a couple things we have to do first. So we're going to take it one step at a time. So we have 3 orders that each have 16 boxes. So first we're going to figure out how many boxes we have. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. So there are 48 boxes of shirts. And then it says each box holds 17. So now we're going to do 17 shirts in each box, and there are 48 boxes. So when I do that, this is where I've got my turtle head. 8 times 7 is 56. 8 times 1 is 8 plus 5 is 13. Remember to cross it out as you get it done so you don't accidentally use it twice. We're going to draw a collar and lay an egg. We're done with the ones place. 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 2 is 6. We're going to add those together. 6 plus 0 is 6. 3 plus 8 is 11. Carry my 1. 6 plus 1 is 8. So that means there are a total of 816 shirts. All right, next one. This is partial products. Now, I know in class we have done it opposite where we've done ones times ones first. It's the same process. Since we know they've done theirs backwards, we're just going to look at 4 times 9 is 36. And since there's 2 numbers behind it, I know that this has to be my 36 because there's the 2 zeros behind my product. And then 9 times 6 is 54 with 1 0 behind it. So here's my 1 0 behind. This needs to be 54. 3 times 4 is 12 with 1 0 behind it. And 3 times 6 is 18. And then I add those together. So 0, 0, 0, 8 is 8. 0 plus 4 is 4 plus 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. 6 plus 5 is 11, plus 1 is 12. Carry my 1, and you get 4. Now, because it's kind of hard to do this, it's not quite lined up, you can also do it off to the side. 46 times 93. And when we did partial products, we started with 6 times 3 is 18. 3 times 4 is 12, but there's a 0 behind it. 6 times 9 is 54 with a 0 behind it. 9 times 4 is 36 with 2 zeros behind it, and you could add it together. That way you can line up the numbers, and it would still count as the same problem. Number 13, Mike has 16 baseball cards. Nico has 17 times as many as Mike. So if Mike has 16 and Nico has 17 times as many, we're just multiplying. Here's my turtle head. 7 times 6 is 42. 7 times 1 is 7 plus 4 is 11. Draw a collar, lay an egg. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. 2, 7, 2. So 272 baseball cards is the answer. Now I kind of wrote off on to the next problem on this one, so I'm just going to copy it over to here. So number 14, we're just multiplying 36 times 28. So when I do that, I have 36 times 28. I'm going to go ahead and do my turtle head. 8 times 6 is 48. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 4 is 28. Draw my collar, lay an egg, and I'm just going to cross this out since I'm done with it. 2 times 6 is 12, so my 2 goes in my answer. I carry up my 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. I add those together. That's 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. 7 plus 2 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So that means my answer is 1008. On to question 15. A farmer planted 42 rows of tomatoes with 13 plants in each row. So we're doing 42 times 13. And I'm going to go ahead and do this one with partial products. You can solve it in any of the 3 ways we've learned. So 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 4 is 12, but this is in the tens, so I have to put 1 0 behind it. 1 times 2, and remember partial products, we can use this symbol to help us remember to multiply everything. So 1 times 2 is 2, but I have a number behind it, so I have to put a 0. And 4 times 1 is 4, but they're both in the tens, so I have 2 zeros behind it, so that makes 400. I add those together, and I get 546 tomato plants. Okay, the next one, 25 times 18. When they have it broken up like this, I know that they're trying to figure out what numbers we're multiplying together. So that means we are going to do our box. So I have 20 plus 5, and 18 is 10 plus 8. So for one box, I would have 20 times 10. 20 times 10, yes, I would multiply it by that. 20 times 8, yes, I would be multiplying 20 times 8. 5 times 10, absolutely. 5 times 8, yes, that is correct. So that one is a viable option. Now the next one, it has 25 as its own factor. And so if they did that, we could do 25 and then 18 gets split up. We would not multiply 25 times 20. That would not make any sense if we split it up that way. So we know this one is automatically wrong. Now on this one, we can see that they've taken 25 and they've split it up. So if I did that, would I multiply 20 times 18? I could multiply 20 times 18 and it would get me all of this. So yes, that would work. Would I multiply 5 times 10? Absolutely. Would I multiply 5 times 8? Yes, I would. So that one is a viable option. Could I do 25 times 10 and then 25 times 8? Absolutely. I can do both of these, so that would work. I would not multiply 25 times 25 because that's just multiplying the same factor by itself. So that one would not work. All right, number 17. Terrell runs 15 sprints. Each sprint is 65 meters. How many does he run? So I'm going to go ahead and do box method on this one. So 65 is 60 plus 5. 15 is 10 plus 5. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my model. 6 times 1 is 6 with 2 zeros behind it. 5 times 10 is 50. 6 times 5 is 30 with 1 0 behind it. And 5 times 5 is 25. Now I'm just going to line these up so that I can add them together. 5 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 is 5. 0 plus 0 plus 5 plus 2 is 7. 6 plus 3 is 9. So that means my answer is 975. Okay, next question, number 18. There are 3 new seats in each row in a school auditorium. There are 15 rows in the auditorium. So I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to do 15 times 3, and that's going to tell me 3 times 5 is 15, 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4, that there are 45 seats. And then if I keep reading, each seat costs $74. So now I'm going to do 45 seats, and each seat costs $74. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 2 is 18. Add my 0, draw a collar. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 3 is 31. When I add those together, I get $3,330. Ray and Ella helped move their school library to a new building. Ray packed 27 boxes with 25 books in each box. So here's how we're going to figure out Ray's. Ella packed 23 boxes with 30 in each box. So we're going to find those out first. 7 times 5 is 35. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 3 is 13. Add my 0, I'm drawing a color. 2 times 7 is 14, so carry up my 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And when I add those together, I get 675 books for Ray. And for Ella, I know I can just solve 23 times 3, which is 69, and add my 0 back to that. So that gives me 690 books. Now, if I go back to the question, it says, how many more did Ella pack? How many more tells me to subtract? So I'm going to take Ella's number, 690, and I'm going to subtract 675. Always make sure your bigger number's on top. I'm going to have to regroup. So 10 minus 5 is 5, 8 minus 7 is 1, and 6 minus 6 is 0. So that means she packed 15 more books. Okay, next question. Julius and Walt are finding the product of 25 times 16, and this is their work right here. We're going to check both of their answers. So, for Julius, 5, and I'm actually going to solve it myself. We can see that Julius did regrouping, so I'm going to go ahead and do the regrouping. 5 times 6 is 30. So he got the 0 right. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 3 is 15. Okay, so far he is correct. And then I'm going to make a 0. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 2 is 2. So far those are correct. 0 plus 0 is 0. 5 plus 5 is 10, so we're going to carry up our 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 2 is 4. So this is where Julius made a mistake. So Julius is wrong. So Julius added incorrectly. Now, if I check Walt, it says what did he do wrong? So we can assume that his answer is incorrect. So let's check. He did partial products. So 1 times 2 is 2 with 2 zeros behind it. So 200 is a partial product. 1 times 5 is 5, but we have a 0 behind it, so that one is correct. 6 times 2 is 12 with 1 0 behind it. Very good. 6 times 5 is 30, but they're both in the ones, so this should be 30, not 300. So when we are trying to figure out what Walt did wrong, he added an extra 0. To 30. And then part C, what is the correct product? Well, we've already solved it, and we know the correct product is 400. Last question, number 21. A clothing store sells 26 t-shirts and 22 pairs of jeans. Each item costs $32. So we have to figure out a couple of things first. How many items? So since we have the word and, we're going to do 26 plus 22, which will give me 48 items. And each item costs $32. That's the problem we're solving. But if I read part A, it says, what is a reasonable estimate? So we're going to round both of these. So 48 rounds to 50, 32 rounds to 30. Basic fact, 5 times 3 is 15. Add my 2 zeros. So a reasonable estimate is 1,500. Now we're going to find the real answer. So I'm going to go ahead and solve this with our box model, with the area model. So 48 is 40 plus 8. 32 is 30 plus 2. And I'm going to draw my box here. 3 times 4 is 12 with 2 zeros. 3 times 8 is 24, 1 0 behind it. 2 times 4 is 8, 1 0 behind it. 2 times 8 is 16. And with partial products, we add those numbers together. So we have 1,200, 240, 80, and 16. 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 6 is 6. 0 plus 4 is 4, plus 8 is 12, plus 1 is 13. Carry up. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 2 is 5. And 1 plus nothing is 1. So that means there was a total of $1,536, which is very close to our estimate. On this test, the biggest thing to make sure you're paying attention to is the number of zeros that you put in your answer and in your partial products, and pay attention to the details, the key words that the problems are giving you. Good luck on your test.